So we put out a projected bid for construction, anticipating a cost maybe as much as $25 million. Best bid we got from Mannequin Construction, a top flight pre-certified bidder, under $18 million.
Wow.
So we're already $7 million under, because the price of steel is down, the price of copper is down, the price of aluminum is down. A lot of the building things are, and a lot of the big builders want to keep their people busy. So it's an opportunity, and I hate to use these kind of mixed metaphors, but I've been arguing with this is the time to pull the trigger on this project, because we're never going to get a better bid than this. And then last week, the big news was we got our bond rating back. A couple of weeks ago, the city manager and our finance team and I met with Moody's and Fitch and Standard & Poor's, the people that do the bond rating. And the best bond rating we got back is Standard & Poor's gave us a AAA bond rating.
Wow.
Which is amazing, for a city without any smokestack industry. If you look at the history of the city's financial management and the history of the city's stability and the security of this city and the attractiveness for it as an investor and for people to live here, they came back and said this is a AAA bond community. And then the big news this week, we went out to bid on Tuesday, bid the bonds, and we had projected an expense of 5.5%, to pay for the bond. The best bid is 3.5% interest.
Wow.
So people, just to put that in perspective, the difference between the 5.5% and the 3.5% over the term of this construction project and paying for it, $4 million we've saved off of that, just by doing all that work and all that research and like I say, building on the city's history of good money management.
Sure.
So I'm tickled. I couldn't be happier.
You should be, and I'm very proud too. So
I think people when they look at this building, they're going to take pride in the design and the structure and the location of it, because it's going to really represent the quality of this city. On the one hand, we clearly need the building. It's got a utilitarian purpose. The current City Hall has served us well. Well, the city moved into it, I think, in the early 70s, and it was an old elementary school. And even though it's been modified a number of times, it's an old elementary school. And you've been there, you know how this goes. And it has served the city well, but the city has grown so over the last several years. It's that we need to make some expansion, and this building will provide us space probably for the next 20 years of projected growth. And this building will serve the city effectively and well, at least through the remainder of this century.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud of it. I think I couldn't be more tickled. The council has worked really hard to get this all done. The city managers, David Deutsch and Rob Patrick and his shop down in finance, have worked hard. We've had some great advice from some financial advisors and bond counsel, and you put that whole team together and you can see the results. And I think at the end of the day, everybody that lives here, everybody that comes through this city is going to look at that and say, that was a good idea.
No doubt you will, Fred. Well, you're talking about your team. And the people in the city, the people that work in the City Hall, they're people that really needed space too.
That's it.
As the growth is natural, the organization is important to have properly planned space.
We're really crowded in the existing space we're in, and like I say, you got a lot of talented people here and a lot of hard, and they're working in very confined space, and we've just grown and evolved over the years. It's awkward sometimes for people to remember that in 1990, we were a city of 30,000 people. In 2000, we were a city of 50,000 people. In 2010, we're likely to be a city of 60,000 people. And the city has grown from its original staff of maybe half a dozen to we probably have 350 employees. And now we're building the police department, and that's going to add another 60, 80 officers ultimately when it's put together. We're still probably 3 or 4 years out in the building of that. So the city has grown by volume and by population and by size. And as a consequence of that, we keep cramming more and more things into the existing building.
That can happen, and you've done well.
So it was time, and everything just came together so well. You know, people tell me that good luck is the result of planning and being in the right place at the right time.
That's right.
And if you look at trying to anticipate financial conditions and preparing for them. I mean, I inherited some good planning from my predecessors. I think we've successfully built on that, and we continue to improve it. My objective has always been is to leave a better platform so that whoever takes my place will be able to continue building on it, and that's been the kind of guiding effort here. But the city has done well, and like I said, we've been truly blessed with some great staff and some very committed council people and mayors that preceded me that got us to the point where we could take off. And I think right now we are taking off, and hopefully we'll get to the point where a future council can sit. They'll be able to look at the city police department, for example, and say, okay, we started from scratch. Now we got 60 some officers here. They're doing this. Maybe they'll have the opportunity to make decisions that I didn't have the opportunity to make because we didn't have that option. So my job is to create options and alternatives for future mayors and future councils to.
Well, Fred, let me tell you, at this point I've got to say this, and I observed your work over the years, running and being on the city council, and your dedication to the city. But I think the leadership you've given this city cannot be underestimated. To bring us through the times we've been with the growth of the city police department, with the managing of funds, which are, you can't rely completely on staff. You've got to have a controlling leadership, management style. And bring the people in the council together is not an easy task. So you've done well there, and you, of course, I don't know whether you're going to retire out of that soon, but I'll say this: it's going to be, your shoes are going to be hard to fill.
Oh. Well, hopefully we'll fill them in, for another couple of years. But I think the key to success here is trying to assess where you are and where you want to be, and then assembling the team. I think the city is strong. We have an incredible. I have absolute faith in David Dortch, the city manager.
Sure.
He does an incredible. David is probably one of the best city managers in the state of Maryland. There's no question in my mind, and he's been able to assemble his staff around him. You know, whether it's the people in his immediate office or the department heads that we've accumulated over the years. They are outstanding people. They're committed and they're dedicated to tasks. The challenge for me is just keep everybody moving. That's right. And to sit back and say, have these conversations with David and whatever. So we'll start talking budget time. Say, all right, here we are. Here's where we want to go. What's the best strategy to get us here? And then once we come up with a strategy, what are the stepping stones to get there? What do we have to do from the council's perspective in terms of funding? What do we need this year, next year? And what do we have to set aside this year for that? One of the truly great benefits the city has, and this goes all the way back to, I guess, Charlie Moore and Dick Loeb. They started a pay-go system for their fleet. Which is an incredibly challenging thing to capitalize to begin with. But now, if we buy a $200,000 trash truck that's got a 20-year lifespan, what we do every budget year is we put 1/20th of the cost of that truck in an account marked trash truck. So at the end of 20 years, if it's still functional and operational, we'll use it forever. But if it has to be replaced, we can draw out that, and that way our budget goes like this. Unlike other governments that goes like this. Yeah. But like I said, we've got a great team, and the council's worked well together. The current council, we got a couple of new people. We had 3 new people out of the last election process, and I have 2 people that have 1 term or less. And then, of course, Dennis Brady's been around for a good while, so he's a pretty experienced guy. So it's been an interesting mix in getting people there. They're incredibly bright. And when you think about it, I mean, you got Dennis is a nuclear engineer. I got 2 lawyers. I got PhD chemists and a couple of business guys, Jimmy and Diane. And you put that group together, and the talent that's there is incredible. My job is to just keep it moving in one direction. So sometimes my job's easier. It's just saying, okay, how do I get this person here, and how do we get this person here? And